Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by Strikeforce Energy.com. Put down the water and grab a fucking drink.
Welcome to Drinking Bros, everyone. This is actually episode number 199. For this episode, we're actually going to do a really cool, serious episode. A lot of people have written into the show, and the one guest they've asked for a one-on-one with the most out of our last 2 years of doing this podcast is Derek Weida, and he's a super inspirational guy. I didn't know a lot about his story and his life, and I read all of the messages on Facebook and all of your comments and all of our posts of please do a one-on-one with Derek. We love Derek, and we'd love to hear more about him. So here's my interview with Derek. I'm gonna get through the sponsors real quick, and then I'll play it. I called him on the phone. It's super late at night here in Wilmington. He's in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was kind enough to do it, and I don't know how long it lasted. That's how much of a blast this interview was. It was really, really incredible. And yeah, so I'm going to run through the sponsors, and then we'll play the interview in its entirety. First up, obviously, you know him. This is StrikeforceEnergy.com. It's the tastiest, tiniest little tin pouch full of energy that goes in every single liquid available, and it's a liquid itself, so it's not a powder. You're not stirring it with your finger, and it's better than 5-hour energy. You can kick the can. You don't need the can anymore. You don't need Red Bull. You don't need Kickstart. You don't need any of that bullshit. Go to StrikeforceEnergy.com. Just try a 10-pack. They ship it right to your house. They ship everywhere in the entire world. And once you get hooked on them, they get a subscription of the month club, which we all have. Also, their 750-milliliter bottles are incredible. A bunch of flavors: grape, orange, lemon, and original. I'm OG. I like the original, and I also enjoy the grape. Go to StrikeforceEnergy.com. Type in the promo code Drinkin Bros for 20% off. Next up, we've got one of the finest in the biz, in the mattress industry. I'm talking about GhostBed.com. Woo-hoo! Matt's not here to do that, so I'll fucking do it. GhostBed is the best sleep you'll ever have. You'll sleep so good, it's scary. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. You get $50 off a mattress, or you can just type in the promo code Drinkin Bros. You get $50 off a mattress. Also, but if you go to Drinkin Bros ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros, you get 3 free pillows with your mattress, which is awesome. And they also have a pay-as-you-go plan. So if you're looking at a new mattress and you're like, fuck, man, I can't afford one, ghostbed.com it's actually a place where you can, they'll let you pay as you go, which is fucking rad. So go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Cannot tell you how great these beds are, and the pillows, and all of it's delivered right to your house. It's fucking easy peasy, beautiful thugger girls. Next up, we've got warfightertobacco.com. Oh yeah, they've been with us a while. If you don't got them, go get them and smoke them, kids. Go to warfightertobacco.com. They are the finest cigars in the land. They're made with Cuban seeds, hand rolled in Dominican Republic, shipped over here straight to your mouth hole. Scott Jansen and the boys are running an amazing operation over there. They're 100% combat veteran owned. And if you want them in your local cigar store, go in, tell them you want them in your local cigar store, and then hit up Scott Jansen, and they'll get them in there for you. Type in the promo code Drinkin Bros for 10% off on warfightertobacco.com. They've also got some dope apparel. I don't know if they have their humidors anymore, but I was a big fan of their humidors. God, I got a gorgeous wood one from them. It's fucking amazing. Big fan of warfightertobacco.com. Again, the promo code is Drinkin Bros for 10% off. Last but not least, we have At Night She Cries While He Rides Steed, the first ever romance novel for dudes. Some might say it's by the funniest writer ever to live on God's green earth, Ross Patterson. No, it's just a rad book. for the people who got the audio leaked to them through Drinkin Bros before Simon and Schuster freaked out and pulled it down. God bless you, because it's amazing. It's available in bookstores everywhere, audible.com, and iTunes, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, everywhere you can think of. If you like the writing in Range 15 or like Blazing Saddles or fucking scary movie, you'll like this. Now we are about to get into the Derek Weida interview. Inspirational guy, hell of a dude, and I sincerely can't thank him enough for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Derek Weida. What is up, Derek Weida?
Hey, Ross.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm fucking right as rain, Derek. I'm right as rain. We're doing this episode, by the way. Out of all the guests we've had on the show, and we're coming up on 200, you're actually episode number 199. And the reason being is the one before the 100th episode and the one after it ended up being like our two most important episodes. People tune in for the fucking crazy ones, but they also want to make sure that we're a real show and that we're actually talking to like real people and about real shit occasionally, just occasionally.
Shit, dude, I was like, ooh, I'm going to talk to Ross, so it gets to get weird and stuff. But you're coming serious.
No. We're coming we're coming from all angles, and it's specifically for the fact of you were the one person out of like the last 2 years we've been doing this. Everybody's like, dude, will you please do a one-on-one with Derek? I'm dead serious. From the Drinkin Bro community, everybody has said, dude, I find that guy's life more fascinating and interesting than anybody you guys have ever talked to. Why have you never sat down and done a one-on-one with him?
And so like for 2 years, people are asking you, for 2 years, you're like, nah.
Nonstop. No. Nonstop. So, well, the thing was always this is I said, great, Rocco, bring him by. Like have him come by, we'll do the thing. Mm-hmm. You guys were always, you travel a lot and mm-hmm. You guys are always busy. Like even tonight, Matt's in fucking Dallas, I think, with Evan and Jared. I think maybe 3 days before that, they were in Fort Bragg. You guys are so busy and so big in your community that you get asked to do a lot of shit. You train for a lot of events, and therefore you're always on the road.
Well, they're busy now. I haven't been busy in probably like 6 months.
Where am I calling you now? I'm calling you in Vegas, right?
But I live here.
Oh, you do? You're not in El Paso anymore.
No, no. I met a girl in El Paso, and she's in the Air Force, and she brought us out to Las Vegas here. So
thank God, dude. No wonder you got married. You got married to get out of El Paso.
Yeah.
By the way, I love Vegas.
Yeah, it's nice. We live in North Las Vegas here, so it's cool, man. It's nice. There's like fucking 5 Targets within a 10-mile radius of my house, and like I need Targets close to I'm not the dude that lives in the woods, Like that's where I home shop is like close to Targets and shit. So.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I like how you all bounced out of El Paso. I used to tell those other guys for years, Matt, and them, I was like, dude, why the fuck do you live in El Paso? Because like Vegas is great. Like the real estate is still cheap enough now, that's you can have a great place. There's still a lot to do there.
The thing I like most about it is it's not overly populated. So how many people listen to your show? Like Vegas is horrible. Don't move here.
Yeah, dude, I've you know what? I've spent a lot of time there, and like I've never even like outside the strip and all that shit. Like I've always had a good time in Vegas. I've never had any issues in Vegas. The people who bitch about Vegas, I don't get it. And I know like Mayweather and McGregor and those guys keep houses there, and it's like, dude, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
But it's a fun town outside of the strip. I guess everybody has a negative connotation from flying in, getting fucked up for 3 days, and then leaving. And it's like, hey, there's other shit to do,
Dude, it's funny going. Like we go on little staycations downtown, and we're just down there in our everyday clothes, and then we go see the people on parade. Like the Vegas mentality is funny, with like the people coming in just to party for the weekend. They're fun to watch. Yeah. There's always like somebody drunk sleeping at a slot machine and shit. I need to start taking selfies with these people, like
because that could be a new Instagram account where it's like Derek in Vegas, and it's just you with like fucked up people, and you put
them in the cheek.
Yeah, you put a leg on them.
Okay? Yeah. Hey, can you hold this? And then selfie. Yeah, just my legs straddled across their lap. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fucking incredible. That would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Well, hey, tonight, if you don't mind, man, I'd really like to get into your story and who you are and where you came from, and everything while you're doing now.
Sure.
If that's cool. Where are you from to start with?
Minnesota.
Really, Minnesota?
Yep. St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, I was born on the east side of St. Paul. Growing up, I delivered the East Side Review around Lake Phelan there.
No shit.
Yep, like East Sider. Yep.
I like it. And then, would you go to high school there?
Yeah, I went to so like if anybody knows St. Paul, I went to Johnson High School. So it was like the shit one of many shit inner city high schools. You know, we're kind of
Were you
cool, man.
Were you one of the few whites at an all black school?
That's what I was. You know, so whites were definitely a minority. It was like there was a lot of black people, a lot of Hmong people up there, so a lot of Asian people, and then I mean some Mexicans, I guess, but I can't remember.
How was that? How was that for you growing up?
It was cool, man, because you know I think about a lot of things and a lot of hatred and stuff going on today, but like where I was raised and the way I was raised, just because I was like tossed into the mix with all sorts of different kinds of people. Like I just didn't know racism. I only knew racism from books, you know?
Right.
And like growing up on the playground, like there's a lot of Hmongs up there, and we would like fucking fifth graders playing dodgeball on the court. It'd be like Hmongs versus Americans. So that was like sort of weird looking back, but we didn't hate it, you know? It was like, oh shit, they're American too. Yeah, I get it. I'm educated now, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, I just, you know, I'm really thankful for that. As shitty as that area was and the school was and stuff, like I was tossed into a pit with a bunch of different kinds of people, and so like I really don't give a fuck about, you know, like truly honestly don't give a fuck about race color, any of the stupid fucking things people judge people by these days. So yeah, it was cool. It paid off. I'm a nice person for it.
Yeah, and so you don't look back at that time with any like ill will or like, oh shit, I wish I'd gone to the rich white school or anything like that?
Nah, fuck no. And so it was all, so like I only went to like 2 years of high school. I graduated and shit, but I spent most of my like junior and senior year just gone. I didn't go to school. I screwed up. I had like a high school.
Yeah, what were you doing? What were you doing?
I was fucking smoking weed, playing guitar, playing Contra, you know? Well, I mean, that was sort of like my sophomore, junior year. But then when I was when I was 17, my girlfriend that I was like madly emo in love with, you know, of 2 years, we broke up, and I was just sort of lost, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I was a big old piece of shit. I didn't know if I was going to graduate high school. I sure as fuck wasn't going to college.
No,
you know,
that was not a thought at all. Like zero college for you.
Like I didn't even want to go to high school. You know?
Yeah.
But it was funny. Like my sophomore year, I did have a class. I was on like the school paper, and so like I got a published article. They published this. It was like my tips and tricks on how to ditch class, and it was like all proven methods and stuff. They let me print this article on how to fucking ditch school and get away with it, you know?
That's fucking incredible, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they would even print that.
Yeah, I know. I wish I would have saved a copy of like my school paper articles.
Oh, you could have posted that and went viral in a second. What made you get interested in the military then?
Just being lost, man. I didn't grow up. My parent, I joined the Army when I was 17, and I had to bring the recruiters to the house and kind of convince my parents to let me join. They didn't want me to join. I don't come from a fucking
military
proud
family.
American like a proud American family, something like that. You know, like we were a family from the East Side. Everybody's born, raised there. They stay there, and we take care of our families, and that's it. You know, so. And then when, you know, like today's the anniversary of 9/11, when 9/11 went down, I was high on ketamine. You know,
it's on Special K, no shit.
Yeah, but like that's a weird story. I wasn't like cool doing drugs. I actually had this really bad tanning bed incident where I got overly tan. Like I fell asleep in a tanning bed that didn't shut off, and I got fucking ripe, dude. Yeah, I got ripe to the point they gave me ketamine.
How long were you in there?
I don't know. I mean, it was, yeah, but dude, I was fucked up. And,
wow, and they gave you
yeah.
ketamine for that. Look, that's a tip for the listeners at home. If you want some special K, just go sleep in a tanning booth for an hour. And you can go to Cartoon Land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crank it up to 45 and then go.
Yeah, so I'm just hammered out of my mind, and I convince my mom that, I'm like, I need to go to school, like, I have an important debate today, and she takes me to school. And I remember, like, driving to school, like, she drove me to school from the hospital, and I was, like, outside the window, I could see this train moving alongside of us, but there was no train, man. It's a golf course, so it's just, like,
that's the beauty of ketamine.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of ketamine, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when you got to school, you realized like how fucked up you were, and at that point you were like, all right, shit, I need military, I need Jesus in my life. How did it go down?
No, that didn't come. So like 9/11 hit, and I was like, what the fuck is the World Trade Center, and who are these people? It didn't really register to me.
Sure.
Because I had like my worldview was very small, and then even 2 years later, the invasion of Iraq. I was smoking weed, doing some chemistry, watching it go down on TV, and I really still didn't feel anything, Like, honestly, I didn't. I don't think that makes me a bad person to say that.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's surprising because you talk to everybody in the military, and they usually say 9/11 had a pretty big effect. But if you're in high school and you're getting high and shit, like, fuck, nothing really matters at that point, I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of. Like, you'd be like, oh, fuck, at least I wasn't there,
Yeah, and so I don't know. I just it was I remember it all happened one night, dude. It was like me and this girl, dude. I was mad in love, and I had a high school sweetheart. It was stupid teenage love, but you know how that goes.
Sure, it seems like the end of the world. Like, dude, I've got to be with her. I'm gonna kill myself. Yeah.
And we're getting to that. So like we were kind of like falling out. And I go to the movies with my family one night, like my cousins and my sister, and I'm like, hey, do you want to come with us? And she's like, no. And then I see her there with another dude, and I was like, fuck this shit. I'm done, And so that was my first, so I stormed out of the theater, and I went and, laid down in the woods, and I just remember, staring up at the moon crying. And that was the first time I called my mom, and I was, crying, and I was like, Mom, I just want to fucking die, I was just thinking about killing myself.
Really?
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how old are you at this point?
I think maybe just 17.
Ah, shit.
So,
that's a weird age because it's right around that time where you think the smallest things seem like they mean the biggest in the world. And when you look back on it now, you're probably like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can just see how passionate I am about things in my life now. Add that with teenage angst, and I was just an emotional dude,
Yeah.
So
you still are, but you still are in a great way.
So my parents took me to a psychologist, and he told me to maybe try that. He told me I needed an outlet. So he said, why don't you try working out? I was like, that sounds fucking dumb as shit, dude. That's what they pay you for. And so, so I started running, and then I started running to the gym, and then I started working out, and I did all the weird stupid shit where I wore baggy clothes and sweatsuits underneath, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so fat, nobody likes me, and started working out and watching some military movies. I was like, fuck it, let's join the Army. I didn't know fuck all about the Army, and I joined it, and then I went in full force, and I loved it, so it worked out.
Did you know what branch or anything you wanted to be?
Well, first I damn near joined the Marines, because I was talking to the Marines recruiters for a couple months, and then the Army swooped it. The Army recruiter did his job better. He's like, hey, we can offer you more fucking blah blah blah. I was like, dope, dude.
Yeah.
And they signed me up, and so I signed up when I was 17, and I was in that delayed entry program bullshit.
Yeah, is that the one you to get your parents' signatures at 17?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did they take it?
They were they were real hesitant, and and it's interesting looking back because like they were just scared, you know, because we were like simple people. We didn't fucking venture off, you know.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to war. Our family didn't go to war. And here I was joining the army at wartime, and they were probably right in thinking that I didn't fully grasp what the fuck war was and stuff, you know. You know?
Sure.
So, but you know, I joined, and then my whole senior year, I basically didn't go to school, and I was just working out all the time, and I was like that super gung ho teenager, like, fuck yeah, I'm going to the army, let's fuck shit up, you know. And,
Yeah.
And I graduated high school, and I think like 9 days later, I was at basic training.
No shit. Where at?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to basic training at?
Well, Fort Benning, Georgia, there. So I did the infantry thing. I got the uncommitted infantry contract, so it's like 11 X-ray.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant, you know. And so I get
Look,
there.
I didn't know what it meant until I met Matt. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what the 11X meant. I was like, oh okay.
So like my old dude, when I was like 17, 18 in the delayed entry program, my AOL screen name, my AIM screen name was Sex 11 Expert.
So you knew you were like, hey, this is what we're doing.
I didn't know it meant uncommitted, because like usually you join and you like can pick where you want to go and do your job and things like that. But this infantry thing, I guess, like I showed up and they're like, well, we'll put you where the army needs you. I was like, ugh. So they assigned me to Fort Polk, Louisiana, and I was like, I don't want to go to fucking Louisiana. Like, well, do you want an airborne? You know, in basic training, they said, does anybody want an airborne contract? And I raised my hand just because I didn't want to go to Fort, you know?
Yeah.
And like growing up, I was a pussy. I was a huge pussy growing up, man. I didn't go on roller coasters or rides or do anything dangerous or anything. And then here I was in infantry basic training, and I just volunteered to jump out of airplanes, you know, like not knowing what's going on and whatnot.
That had to have been like a massive culture shock. Like coming from Minneapolis, or, you know, St. Paul, like to jumping out of airplanes, you had to have been like, what the fuck?
But it worked, dude. It was a perfect fit for someone like me, you know, I'm not like I guess I said I'm emotional, but I'm not sentimental, you know, and so like what is a good soldier? I mean, there's a lot of different variations of good soldiers, but for me it's like the person who just basically wants to go to war. Like once I tasted it, I fell in love with it, you know?
Right.
And for like in its pure sense, not right and wrong, not us versus them and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, I just kind of like this going to war thing, you know? Like, it's dangerous. I could die. I could kill somebody else. It's pretty cool. We get to do, you know, cool shit. And you know why it worked for me too is because like as a kid, with like that lack of confidence, and so like this girl I dated in high school, she was like she was the captain of the cheerleading squad, and I was the nerd stoner fucking guitar playing hippie, you know? And so I got picked on and shit like that. So, but the army taught me like you have to be arrogant and confident in the army and stuff, you know? And it's sort of feigned. It's really fake. That's why like dudes crash when they get out, you know?
Sure.
But when you're there, it fucking works, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel tough and tall, and I liked that. So
let me ask you this: you finish up, and when you find out you're getting shipped off?
Oh, so I went to basic right after the high school thing there, and then I went to airborne school, and then I showed up to the 82nd, and I was assigned to first 325, and so I was there for 2 weeks, and and 2nd Battalion was deployed to Mosul at the time, and they had sustained some casualties and shit. And so first they were taking 9 volunteers from 1st Battalion to go overseas, and I was like, fuck yes. I was the first one on that list. I was like, sign me up. So I was in Iraq the same year I graduated high school, which is
holy shit.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, you know. But then it sucks. So I show up to 2nd Bat, and they think I'm like this, you know, like. And I was new, like it just, you know, they treated me like a fucking new guy, but none of them knew I had volunteered to come to their unit to, you know, help them out and fill their ranks and stuff. But that's fine. I would have treated me like shit too.
Yeah. You know? Are you still friends with those guys to this day?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So
Actually, one of the dudes, he runs the nonprofit with me. So yeah, we're all good friends still.
oh no shit.
Yep.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, these friendships that last forever. I've never seen anything like it in the military. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's because like, like just because I say we're friends, it doesn't mean I haven't talked to some of these guys in years, But if like one of them showed up at my house tomorrow, I saw him in the street, we're gonna spend like the next 8 hours belly laughing and drinking beers and just having fun, Like yeah, we just get along. It's good, it's fun, and that's what that's another problem is like people miss that,
Yeah, because I see it a lot, hanging out with Matt and those guys and like Rocco, and like people will come up and talk to them for an hour or 2 hours, and they'll be like, oh hey man, sorry, this guy was with me at, and you're like, oh shit, fuck. He's like, I haven't seen him in 10 years. It was like, really? Because you're talking to him like you guys are still best friends, and you have missed a day, like an hour in each other's life, and in a really awesome, amazing way. But I haven't seen that kind of human interaction between other people who haven't seen each other in that long in a while, where you're just like, oh shit, it's like you guys never skipped a beat with each other.
Yeah, it's a special bond, man. It's not like people compare it to like a sports team, like, like baseball players, the good old boys or something, like a frat or something, but it's different when you're getting shot at together and shit,
Yeah, because you could actually die, where it's like, hey, guys, we weren't actually going to die on that lacrosse team. But overseas, there's a good shot at it. There's a really good shot at it. And so when you get there, how long are you serving in Iraq before what happened to you happened? Because I don't for the audience too, like I've never asked you this story personally, and I also don't know the story personally.
Right. So I was deployed twice in like so I showed up late 04. We left in March, and then in like September we went back to Iraq. So like September 05, and that was chill. And then 2006 we spent like we were just stateside all year, and we were gearing up to do this like cool guy mission. But we were so December 2006, we were home on Christmas leave, and we weren't supposed to come back until like early January or something. But on fucking December 27th, we got the phone call, because I was in the 82nd, so that's that quick response bullshit, where you can deploy fucking any time in the world, 18 hours or whatever the fuck. And so December 27th, while I was at home in Minnesota hanging out with family, we got the call because they had just signed that paperwork for the fucking surge. You remember that bullshit back then?
Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So we got the call.
By the way, we should tell the audience that you are dipping. You've got a sweet. Are you going lower or upper dip lip tonight?
Lower.
Oh, you're going lower, dude.
Yeah, I'm not from the country, man. That's that upper dipper stuff. The beaver is some weird shit.
So if the audience is listening at home, they're like, "Man, is the connection weird?" No, it's not. Like you're just taking your time on that Sea Hagen. So.
Does it make me pause when I talk and shit? My bad.
No. Look, it's fucking great. But I'm just telling the audience because, like, dude, Matt and those guys, not Matt actually, but Jared is unaware that it's an audio show, and he's just like, no, it's fine, man. I can be on my fucking phone looking up, models or Hillary Duff shit, and I'm like, no, like it's still an audio show. So yeah, because I'm drinking over here, and you've got a lower lip dip in, so that's good. Because I didn't know if you were going upper lip with it. So.
No, I got a good half canner down here, so
right.
It's a big one. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. So in 04, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so like we fast forwarded like December 2006, the 27th December 2006, we got the call. I think we were in Iraq like January 2nd or something like that. And so this was the surge, and this is where I met Jared Taylor. He was assigned to our unit there, and it was a tough deployment, man. And like we set up shop in this big building, and we were getting mortared, and we had some direct rocket attacks. And like people will say like, ooh, I was mortared, but they're like, no disrespect, they're like the mortar lands a fucking click away or something like that. Like we were having daily direct mortar hits on the top of our building and stuff like that, and people getting shot in the streets and coordinated ambushes and stuff like that. So like it actually makes me like the first two deployments I was on was sort of low key, but this deployment was like that's the war, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah. And that,
so,
and again, just to refresh, like that first deployment was in 2004?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was like, I think I showed up like late December 2004, and we left March 2005, and then I was in Talifar like September 2005 till like maybe December or January, something like that.
So you were there for
yeah, but then,
a long time, like going back and forth at this point.
well, so like we did like 2 4-month stints, and then in 2006 I went and set up some tents in Tikrit, and I re-enlisted over there for the fucking tax-free bonus, because we were supposed to do this like cool mission where we pulled some security for some cool guys, but it all got thrown to shit because of the surge. So, yeah, the deployment in 2007, those guys were there for 15 months, or 12 or 15 months.
Shit.
It was a long time ago, man. Yeah, so they did a stint, but I was like, man, it's too fucking hot. And I fucking decided to get myself shot so I could get the fuck out of there, you know?
That was the excuse for it? Like, man, I got to get out of here.
It's too fucking
It's
hot.
1:15 every single day.
Yeah. Good luck, boys.
So what was that day like when you lost your leg? What was the circumstances? What was the actual story? Because again, a lot of people see you online and just think, dude, here's this fucking badass who's shredded, worked out all day, super famous, and but like nobody actually, to my knowledge, knows your story. Like I was at the gym today, running on the treadmill next to somebody, and he was in the military, and he goes, "Oh shit." He goes, "Your buddy's with that military dude," and I just assumed he meant Matt, and I go, "Yeah, Matt," and he goes, "No, Derek Weida, like the CrossFit guy," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I know Derek as well," and I was like, I was not expecting you to say that, and he's like, "Oh shit, well, dude, we all work out. That guy's like the biggest inspiration of all time," and I was like, I asked him, point blank, I was like, "Do you know how he lost his leg?" And he goes, "No, I actually don't," and I'd love to, I'm sure it's a miserable story to tell.
It's actually a crazy story.
Yeah,
no, it's crazy. Like you don't know I was limb salvaged for 4 years against my wishes, huh? Like nobody, I know people don't know.
People don't know that. Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before, but like it was back when nobody. So anyway, so what happened? Like it was June 23rd, 2007, and my platoon was scheduled to go back on refit. So that means like we go to the FOB for like 24 hours, and we get hot chow and a shower and stuff like that, because we lived out in the city, you know? And so we were scheduled to go on refit, but there was like a big mission that came down. And we were just like balling people up that night. Like we did house raids all the time in onesies and twosies, but this night there was like 45 targets. And so, and like, okay, this was a long time ago, and this is my best memory, right? Okay. So fuck, it's like some people are super critical, but so there was like something like 9 platoons, and we all had like 4 or 5 targets that night. And so here's a funny thing, man. Like I'm not a religious person or a sentimental person or something like that. But I always carried these 2 coins in, like, one in each breast pocket, and one of them my mom gave me, and one of them my grandma gave me. But since we were going on refit, I had those packed in my bag. And so we geared up and went out on this night of missions, and I didn't have my fucking coins on my chest. And that's the night I got shot. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So it was sort of routine. That was our job, like the house raid thing at night, So, but we pull up to our first house, and it's like 2:30 in the morning. And I'm the assault team leader for this night, and so like that just means like my team always goes in the house first. Like we do the breaching and shit. And so the other team's breaching the gate, and I'm looking at this house, and I was like, "Fuck, man, this is trouble." Because usually like the houses over there will have a wooden door that goes into a living room, and then like a metal and glass door that goes into the kitchen, and you always breach the wooden door because that's just easier,
Right.
But this house only had the metal and glass door. And those doors always have like at least 2 locks on them, sometimes 3, like one in the middle, one high, one low. And, like obviously, and so like at this point in the deployment, it sucked. We were in the city, and we didn't have any dynamic breach equipment for raids. Like there's no blowing doors in. We didn't like, we had to turn in our fucking grenades, dude. Like it was some bullshit. Jesus. It was like sort of, fighting with your hands tied behind your back and whatnot. So I knew we were going to have to, we only had the battering ram. And I knew with a metal and glass door, you fucking break that middle lock and you're going to break all the glass and wake everybody up inside and you're not in the house yet, And so with a raid, you want to catch them while they're sleeping.
Yep.
Because then they don't shoot at you. But, so we broke the middle lock, all the glass broke. We heard everybody inside wake up. We heard them rack their AKs. But like, there's no... Like that's fine. That is what it is. It's not the first time we've been shot at or something on a raid, and you don't pause. Like that's what we're there to do. And like if we walk in and we just get shot and we all die, that's sort of our job too. Like it's part of our job, So the door, like my dude breaks the middle lock, then he breaks as soon as the lower lock goes and the door swings open, I step in and I just like boom right in front of me like a 9-round burst of AK fire. And so like I'm walking forward and then the next thing I know I'm looking up. And they don't train you for that, you're just sort of looking up and you're like, wait, something's fucking, oh shit, I'm shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, something's not right. I know what it is. And so like
the fact that you're able to like laugh about it is crazy to me, where I'm like, because I'm sitting here, I'm agreeing with you. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Like I've been shot. I've not been shot. You've lost a limb and you're like, oh yeah, like fuck.
Yeah. So I was like, so it's cool, man. And people ask me in the past, like, what's your proudest moment in the Army? And it was that moment when I got shot, because like, so I'm crawling out of the,
really,
like, I'm crawling on my back to get out of there, and my dudes are walking over top of me, shooting their way in the house. That's some pretty gangster ass shit. Like, because I was just proud of them.
Yeah.
And it's a reflection upon my leadership and things like that. But, so yeah, that's how I got shot.
Did those guys light up the house?
So the dude sprayed at the door and then tried to run, and then they like barricaded himself in a room upstairs. And then the next team leader, his balls just weren't as big as mine, so like they didn't go in that room and kill him. That dude was alive, so it'd have been cool. So it was actually like I was out in the courtyard and fucking. I remember they dragged that motherfucker out there next to me, and I was pissed, dude. And I was livid. I was like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, and they took my guns away. And they dragged me out in the street, and they're like, let's not have him out in the street. And they dragged me back inside and I don't know. It was weird, dude. That dude should not have lived. But
so he is alive today.
Well, I don't know. It's been a long time. And I don't even know, dude. I had a year or so down the road while I was still going through my surgeries and shit. I had to do a fucking video conference court thing with them, so I had to look this motherfucker in the face.
No fucking way.
Yeah. And they're like, Derek, you can be cool. I'm like, I don't know. I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. through the video conference.
Yeah.
Can you see my face? I'll fucking kill you through this phone.
Yeah. So
did you know right away? So let me ask you this: did you know right away that there was a chance that you might lose your leg?
No. I didn't even know where I was shot, dude.
Really?
Well, for a good few minutes, and then they told me that I was shot. So I felt a hot zing in my calf, and they didn't tell me where I was shot, and they were like, they're like, don't look. So I wasn't looking, and I didn't feel. I was awake the whole time. I was telling jokes. When they were carrying me to the helicopter, I told my sergeant major, I was like, I'm not gonna make it to the gym tonight,
Yeah.
Because he was always up there at the gym and stuff, and there was one guy I didn't like, so when they were carrying me away, I gave him the middle finger, so.
Just to let him know, like, hey man, I got shot and I still hate you. I still don't like you.
So. I didn't know it was bad until I woke up in Germany, and I was like, where am I? They're like, you're in Germany, you're going back to the United States. I was like, whoa, shit. And I'm super drugged at this point, so I can't really, I'm not staying awake for more than a couple minutes at a time, and I'm not really processing thoughts, but that was the first time I was scared. Like, what the fuck's going on? And then in Germany, they let me call my ma. So I called my ma, and she gets on the phone and she says, oh, Derek, I know they told us that you had been hurt, but that you're back to work. And I'm sitting there in my fucking tiny little bed looking at all these other wounded dudes. I'm like, Ma, I don't think I'm okay. They're flying me to the United States, you know. So the Army told my
Wow.
parents that I was good to go and back to work. But so then
Shit, that's awful.
yeah, but mistakes happen, I guess.
Oh man, that's a mistake you should not make. Right there, like if there's one mistake you should not make, it's that one of like, oh yeah, Derek's back to work. He's he can't come to the phone right now. He's doing fine. So when did you find out? Like, hey man, this might be a huge deal. Like, I might be in trouble.
So they flew me to Walter Reed, Germany, hospital at Fort Bragg. That's where I was stationed, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. There, and at the hospital, like, so my family come meet me, and at that hospital, they're like, "Oh, we're not fucking qualified to work on this." So I got shot side to side through the knee, is where I ended up getting shot, and it like just fucking blew the whole damn thing out, you know.
Right.
So they says they're not good enough to do the surgery there, so they're gonna take me back up to Walter Reed, but there's no flights, and so they throw my fucking broken ambulance.
Wait,
drive to Washington D.C.
They physically threw you in the back of an ambulance and drove you to.
No. They placed me gently into an ambulance.
No, not that. But
you know,
that's a long drive for an ambulance. I didn't think an ambulance could go that far for some reason. That might be a dumb thing to say, but
it was really weird. Even the ambulance drivers were like, dude, we're sorry about this, but the good news is they gave us like a ridiculous amount of morphine, more than we should give you. Do you want it all? I said yes.
Yeah.
They're like, cool.
you go.
Yeah. So I don't remember that ride. Maybe the first 5 minutes, and then so I get to Walter Reed, and then I'm just out for a good while, and then they finally do like the first big surgery on me. They try to like put me back together, dude. It's crazy. They put a big metal rod up my femur, and it looked like they were playing a drinking game to see how many screws they could fit in my fucking leg, because there was like 27 screws in this thing, and they were going every which way and shit. It didn't look like a well thought out plan.
Yeah. You're even giving your notes like, hey guys, I don't think this is gonna work.
Shot. Yeah, he's like, I can do it. Like playing Jenga, like opposite Jenga with my leg. And so they told me after that first big surgery, they gave me prognosis. They says, best case scenario for you is you'll walk unassisted. And that meant like, I'll walk without a cane someday. And I says, yeah, that's not good enough. I was like, that's not good enough for me. Just cut it off. Fuck this shit. Just cut it off. I want to go back to work. I want to go back to doing my job. There's still things that I wanted to do that I haven't accomplished, and I can't do it on this piece of shit leg. So just cut it off. Well, they thought I was out of my mind,
because of the drugs, or you weren't thinking clearly?
No, that's just not the natural. Like, the natural human response is to save the leg. And I know a lot of guys who fucking got injured, and they have these fucking bum ass legs that don't do shit, but they won't cut it off because it's their leg. They're attached to it. They're sentimental about it. It was like, I got a friend who's got a calf injury, and he used to love to run, but he can't run now. But if he fucking got an amputation, he'd be a below knee amputee, and he could run again. But people, it's not the normal human reaction to just want to, or to just not care and be like, oh yeah, that's fine, just cut it off, we'll fucking deal with it,
Yeah. So I definitely would have went the other route of like, keep trying, keep fucking trying.
So they said they didn't want to cut it off just yet, that they wanted to do some more surgery. So I went, it was like 18 months of several major surgeries, and every time I was like, let's just cut it off. They're like, one more try, we think we can get it to work, because like the problem was my leg wouldn't bend, because I took a fucking bullet through the knee. So it was an ongoing process, and then there was like I went back to Minnesota, and just to do some healing, because I had so many surgeries, and then they says one more surgery. If this doesn't go through. If this doesn't work, we'll talk about the amputation, you know? So I was like, fine, let's do it. And they did the surgery. It didn't work. And then we had like a fucking 2-minute conversation about the amputation. The fucking doctor at the VA there said no. And then
he said no, that you couldn't get it amputated?
Right.
Fuck off. Are you kidding? So you don't have that kind of authority over your own body to say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is my choice. Let's do this.
Yeah. So this is 2009 now. This is like mid 2009 now. So this is 2 years after I got shot. You know, like still going through all this bullshit. And this whole fucking time, I was just like, just cut my leg off. Like, fuck this shit. I want to go back to my job because, you know, like I wanted to go special forces, man. And I thought I knew I had it in me. I just hadn't done it yet, you know. I told the doctors, I told them, I says, look, I'm not talking shit. I'm not someday there's going to be a dude who goes through selection on a prosthetic leg and graduates. I was like, I'm not saying that I'm that guy, but I'm saying I got the fucking nuts to try, you know, like, let me go fucking follow my dreams.
Yeah.
And they said no. They're like, nah, dude, we're good. Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, okay, but no thanks. You know?
What's that disappointment like when you hear that and they're essentially going to force you to have another surgery?
Well, dude, like I was still positive through all this, man. I was highly motivated. Like I was focused on getting recovered, getting healthy, and getting back to my job, you know. But then in November, I remember the date. It was like November 8th, 2009. There, I was at my apartment and I was sitting at my desk, and they called me and they said they're going to start the medical board process. And I was like, all right, cool, that's it. Fucking hung up the phone, picked up the bottle, and you didn't see me. And that's when I just like my life went to shit, you know.
Fuck.
Yeah, and so I was just.
How bad did it get?
Well, I mean, it was bad, dude. Like, so, like, between that day and, like, maybe, so, for 2 years, yeah, I was, like, just bad, man. I was just drinking around the clock and, was getting arrested a lot, got a couple DUIs. I was getting in fights, like, every night, and I was just whoring myself around, and I was in like dealing with all these different fucking run-ins with suicide and stuff like that. And you know, I had a nice big 2-bedroom apartment. I broke that motherfucker. I ripped every cabinet off the wall. I ripped every shelf out of the closet. I fucking ripped off every door and punched holes in every wall. And like one night I fucking was hammered and was, you know, talking about like jumping out my window. And luckily for me, I always had friends around.
Right.
You know, but I was a fucking dude, and it's just because I didn't want to live anymore. And so, like, looking back, my mistake was that I thought that because my life as a soldier was over, that I thought my life was over. But they're two fucking different things, you know. But I couldn't see it back then because I just wanted, like, I had a one-track mind, and I just wanted to live one life and do one thing. And if I couldn't have that, then I didn't want to be alive, you know.
And I think that's I mean, look. You know, because a lot of people out there have these thoughts. They just don't admit it. And which is part of the problem where it's like, hey, man, if you talk to a friend or something, it's a lot easier to get through than if you're dealing with this on your own. But when somebody takes your dream away from you, that's a really fucking difficult thing to deal with in any profession or any facet of life. How did you get past it?
Especially in our culture, they're like follow your dreams, pick something and fucking give it everything you got. Nobody ever tells you to fucking have a plan B. You know?
Yeah, they don't. They really don't.
So you get there and you're like, oh shit.
I had this exact conversation with my wife the other night and it was like, you're absolutely right. And then once everybody's forced with a plan B, that's when you find out who you really are and what you can really do, but you're scared as shit, you know? When somebody tells you you can't do something, what got you out of this funk?
Well, so it was. I remember it was December 2010 now, and I was just living like shit, dude. So like, I was in and out of college during those bad years. It wasn't like I was fucking horrible every second of every day, but overall it was bad. Like psych wards up and down. I went through a 30-day fucking inpatient psychiatric program and stuff like that. And nothing worked. Like a lot of people were trying to help me, but nothing worked because I didn't want to help myself. I didn't want to be alive,
Yeah.
And so I remember I was literally doing nothing with my life. I was staying in my apartment and I was only leaving to go get food and coming back. And it was December 2010 and I was at my point. I was like, you know what, dude? Either fucking live or die. Like choose one, but go all in on one. Like whether you choose to live, if you choose to live, then do something, like fucking do something with your life. If you want to die, then fucking kill yourself. Because I was like, it's really weird that like back then, one of the things I hate about myself is I didn't have the courage to kill myself, like, but that's a real thing.
Wow.
Dude,
I know. I know. Hearing it out of your mouth though is crazy. Like, why didn't you, I guess?
I don't know, man. Like, so maybe because I was, maybe because I have a great mom or something like that. There was always a voice. There was always something inside my head. Don't know what it is. Don't know what it was saying to me, but it was keeping me alive. It's like, I don't know.
Man. Yeah, because I'm always curious as to that, because you hear people who have, tried to commit suicide, a thought about committing suicide, and usually, there's one thing that snaps them out of it and brings them back. Man, yeah.
Yeah, but I just honestly like even, and I can still, like when you talk about like emotions that are this strong, all you got to do is talk about them and you feel them again, and I can remember, and even I had a run in last December, but that was a little different. But I had a reason then, but back then there was no reason, it was just something, I don't know, a little voice in my head, and thank God I was there,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, once you were out of that mentality, then what happened as far as your leg going forward?
Well, so like it was kind of interesting time in like December 2010. I was at my live or die moment, and a buddy of mine who I mentioned earlier, like he runs the nonprofit with me now. He put out he had gotten the boot from the military because he had a couple heat cats, so he got kicked out despite his wishes, and he wanted to stay in too. And he's a big dude, man. He's a barrel chested 6'5". He's a big dude, and he kind of let himself go a little bit since getting out, and he wanted to get back in shape. And this is back when like obstacle course races were just getting their footing and becoming semi-popular,
Sure.
And so he put out an open invite on Facebook to join him in a team of like getting back in shape and then tackling this Tough Mudder the following June. And I hadn't really talked to anybody in a good while. But I reached out to him and I says, like, hey man, can I join the team? I was like, really, I didn't like, dude, I'm fucking struggling over here. I need somebody to save me like now. I was just like, hey, can I join the team? And he was like, he's like, fucking absolutely, dude. And so again, then I started working out and I kind of had like a purpose to it. Like, so now I was training for a Tough Mudder. I was like this fucking bum ass cripple living like shit. But now I had this small, tiny, fucking meaningless goal that fucking changed my life forever, like,
yeah,
just living for something again. And it was like a stupid Tough Mudder, but it was I'd have fucking lived for anything back then, so it was just that, and so that January 2011, I was pulling myself back up and getting into working out and being able to do new things on my fucking bum ass leg and do like, so it wasn't, dude, my leg hurt back then, man. I wasn't on any pain meds because I didn't like how that made my brain feel. Like pain meds make you stupid and foggy and you can't remember shit. And I chose the pain, or I chose my brain over the dulling of the pain,
How excruciating was it on a scale of like 1 to 10?
Dude, I was riding a fucking 8 all day, every day.
Every single day.
Yeah,
Shit.
it was fucking bad, dude. Because it was like my leg was crooked and I had overgrown bone and it didn't bend. It was just fucked up. You know?
Did you have to use a cane or a crutch or anything?
So I was off I was stubborn and I stopped using my cane. And then when I was training in 2011 there, like January to June, training for the Tough Mudder, things were going pretty okay. Like it hurt, but I didn't care because I was coming from the military. You can overcome that pain, you know?
Right.
But then, so we did the Tough Mudder, and we completed it successfully, and it was awesome. It was a good day. And I was like riding that high for a couple days, and then the fucking real pain set, and I was back on a cane. Like I couldn't walk. And my buddy, his name's Sean Ensley, my buddy who like put out the invite, he was like, "Hey, dude, why the fuck don't you just have that thing cut off?" And I was like, "Ugh, let me tell you a story," you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, "What the fuck, man? Fuck that shit." And he's like, "Look, I got some friends." He's like, "I'm not a fucking, he's not a powerful dude. He can't just make things happen like this, you know?" But he says, "I got some friends that do some like shit with nonprofits. Well, let's start looking into getting this funded ourselves and have that fucking leg cut off."
Wow.
We're gonna raise money to like cut off like private sector.
No way. And cut off your leg. Like I've never seen an Indiegogo that's like, "Hey, let's throw in a couple bucks to cut my buddy's leg off." Let's all get together. Just, spare what you can. But we're gonna get his leg cut off for him. He's dying to do it.
Yep.
And
we just needed the money and the doctor, and they were working. They were working on it, man. And
did you ever think about going like to Mexico or anything? Was that ever part of the equation of like, dude, I'm dead serious?
We had a list of ideas, and in the garage was definitely on that list. Like we were just committed, and it was cool because it was like, all right, we're gonna fucking do this. And so while they were kind of doing their thing, I was like, well, it can't hurt to go ask the VA again, And so they're November 2011 now. I was went to the VA with my ma, and we had a meeting with the same doctor who said no to me a couple years before. And, we were fucking astonished, dude. Cause so we're sitting there and he's doing his doctor thing where he just looks at his computer and he hears me out and he's like, "So when are you available?" And I was like, "Available for what?" And he was like, "Well, for the amputation." I was like, "Motherfucker, I'll cancel my lunch. Let's do this shit today."
Yeah. Let's go.
Me and Ma were going to the calf. I got time. And so a month later, they fucking chopped my leg off. December 6th, 2011. They cut my leg off. So
holy shit! And how did you feel after that?
Well, I got a cool ass picture of me. Like they're like rolling me out of the surgery room, and I'm just smiling. I'm just smiling. I'm drugged up. I don't know what's going on, but apparently, like the unconscious Derek was very happy in that moment. So. What was
the conscious Derek like after that?
Well, it was game on, dude. Because so all this time I was just telling people I was talking a lot of shit. I was like, man, if they would just cut my leg off, I could fucking go back to being me. I could do great things. I could fucking live my life and be in control and stuff. And then, I was kind of, it wasn't an excuse, dude. Like that was a reality. Like I was being held back by this fucking. By my leg, and so I was talking a lot of shit. I'm like, if they would just cut it off, I'll go on and do great things. And then the day came and they cut it off. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I talked a lot of shit. I better get to work.
Time to do great things, Derek. Time to do great things.
Casual, So, but no, it was tough, dude. It was real tough, but it was a good tough. It was like, if life's all about problems. Like we all have problems. It's good to have good problems. Like the road to recovery is a good fucking problem. The path that I was on before was just a path of destruction. And now I was like, taking a road of hope. Where as an amputee, I always say my success is determined solely based upon how fucking hard I'm willing to push myself physically and mentally, and that's what I'm good at because that's my outlet. Because without fitness and the things that I do, I struggle still, I'll go back to being an alcoholic, fucking kill myself, Derek, tomorrow if I wasn't occupying my mind with what I do now, So
Yeah, if you don't have something out there that you're passionate or that you love, look, that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's it's not just you. It's a lot of people who go through that and struggle with that. What was the first moment when they put a prosthetic on your leg? When was that? Do you remember?
So it was so I got my leg cut off. I got my first leg. Oh, dude, that's a funny story. So I get my leg cut off December 6, 2011, and then to motivate me to do my rehab and train, my buddy Sean signs us up for a fucking Tough Mudder in June in the mountains of Colorado.
No
and so
way.
I got my
6 months later?
Yeah. So I got my first leg in March, and I couldn't walk a mile. And then I went and showed up to the Tough Mudder, and my buddy Sean was like, "You get as far as you can get, and we'll get you the rest of the way." And so I walked 6 miles. So I showed up to Tough Mudder, had my prosthetic leg on. Never walked a mile in my prosthetic leg before, and I was about to do a 12.5 mile course in the mountains,
shit.
So I show up with my leg on and a backpack with my crutches attached.
So you were determined, hey,
yeah.
dude.
And I walked.
Yeah, if I can't do it, I'm going to crutch this motherfucker till the end. Oh man! Even hearing you say this, holy shit! You
but
had
I'm
to
not that cool, man. I showed up there. I was like, "This is a fucking mistake," But I got that. I always just tell people I'm just too stupid to quit. I have bad ideas all the time, and I follow through with them because I'm just too fucking stupid to quit. So that Tough Mudder, I walked 6 miles, and then I crutched a couple miles, and then those dudes carried me for a good fucking 3 miles or something like that. I was just riding the backs of sweaty men. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was delicious.
Yeah, but still, that had to have been an incredible feeling when you finished, right? When you got to the end.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. It was it was kind of we did the right thing, and life was good. Life was good. I was starting to become happy again. Because I wasn't happy for 4 motherfucking years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always been a happy, cheery dude, a smiley dude. Even in the face of strong adversity, a good mental attitude. But a person can only take so much. So.
No, you've certainly been through it, Jesus. So after that, what makes you get into hardcore? Hey man, I'm going to be you're the fittest dude I know. You're jacked like an El Camino in the front yard of a Mexican's. It's for real. You're just Jesus, man. You're jacked. What makes you want to do all that? Was it that one Tough Mudder?
No, so I moved to Denver to just be closer to Sean because he was my source of happiness. We were in this one together. I moved to Denver, and I was going to school, and I was just living my life for a while. I wasn't we were working out casually, but I was drinking beer and eating food, just being a happy dude. I was being happy again. I was living without pain,
Yeah.
But then when I moved back to Minnesota, started getting serious into training again. That's always been my thing, and I was done going to college. I had transferred to the U of M, and I got accepted to finish my degree there. And I was like, man, I'm fucking tired of this shit. I'm tired of fucking 19-year-old kids telling me how the world spins. And I'm tired of fucking career professors who went from high school to a 4-year to a master's to a doctorate to a professor, and they've never been in the outside world. I'm tired of learning from these people. I'm tired of hearing them talk at me. I want to go try at life. And then so I was like, all right, I'm not going to school. I'm going to try life. I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck, I could be a personal trainer. But I was covered in tattoos and stuff like that. And the gyms that I wanted to work at, they told me I got to shave my beard and cover my tattoos. And I was like, yeah, I don't fucking sell myself for anybody. So it's been a long, weird road, man. And so
yeah,
we're at 2014, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just start my own gym. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Didn't know shit. And this is back before everybody had a fucking GoFundMe,
Right.
And I remember I had a meeting with a guy who told me, I was like, hey dude, you run businesses, teach me some things. And he was like, well, first, Derek, you need some money. I was like, fuck.
There's that old thing again.
Yeah.
That old strange tale. You need money to start a business. Yeah. It sucks.
And so he says, he gives me some options for that. And he's like, one of the things people do is like Indiegogo. And I looked into that, and it's like, oh, you can't, like, I couldn't do that because it's just for art stuff. But then I page, don't even remember what it was called, and I fucking put it up there. I'm like, hey, I'm Derek, just a dude. I want to start a gym, and this is before the whole fucking blog sphere was like, where like everybody had their veteran story in business just being down your fucking face,
Sure.
And so I was like, hey man, I'm Derek. I want to start a gym, like kind of geared towards veterans and preferably operated by veterans, and it'll be here in St. Paul. If you want to chip in, cool. And so I went and it did good, man. Like we were like $15,000. That's pretty good.
Wow, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and I just had a personal Facebook back then,
Yeah, that's great. Jesus. I'd suck a dick for $15K today,
Mm. What's cool as far as I asked my 2-year fucking don't talk about this. So I was walking out of the fucking Minnesota Secretary of State, whatever the fuck, with my LLC in hand for All American Fitness and Strength, and I got a phone call from my dad. He says, a guy called me from Anytime Fitness. They want to talk to me. So Anytime Fitness, you heard of Anytime Fitness?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of them here in Wilmington, actually.
Yeah, so they're based out of Minnesota. Their fucking CEOs called me up. They're like, hey, we like you. We like what you're doing. We want to work with you on this. I was like, cool. So I just went from $15K to $750K.
No fucking way.
So this is January. So January to November 2014, I worked with them for a full year to try to do something cool. And in the end, it just wasn't cool. And I had to walk away.
Why is that? Was it too corporate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because look, I see the Anytime Fitness, like I see them around, and they just never seem to have enough shit or the right shit in there. And
right. In our first meeting, I told the CEO, I was like, look, I would never work out at your gym. Okay. So if we're going to do this, and I was like, look, I would never work out at your gym, and all my friends that want to come work out at my gym, they're like me. So we're going to have to find some common ground. And I came up with this idea where we like split it in half, and we had this like kind of cool idea. It was called the Anytime Fitness Rally Point, and it was like half your regular Anytime Fitness and then half like a functional training area. And then the kicker was there was going to be a social club inside for just dudes to come chill, like veterans who just sort of like hang out, congregate. Maybe we do like a muster once a month or something like that. It was going to be this cool place in the community,
Sure.
And then what it ended up being was they offered me a fucking management position at a corporate gym, and I called them and I said I'm out. And like, and I was, and like it was a good salary, dude, and I was broke as fuck, but I couldn't do it, man, because I felt like if I would have taken that job, I'd have been doing right by me, but I wouldn't have been doing right by the people that I was fucking making promises to, And so I would rather deliver nothing than deliver a pile of shit.
Yeah.
So I fucking walked away.
And where do you go after that? Did you open up your own gym?
No, so like in 2014, that's when I connected with like Matt and Jared and them, because I seen some fucking video on the internet, and I saw Jared, and I served with him in 2007. I was like, oh dude, shit, just saw you, looks cool, glad to see you're doing well. And he was like, hey, you want to come to El Paso? I was like, sure, I don't care. And that's when I met like Matt and Rocco, and so like at this point I was like sort of getting versed in internet stuff, and so I walked away from this deal. It's December 2014, and I'm like, fuck, dude, all right, I haven't been working, I haven't been making any money, I've been sitting here like holding on to hope, trying to, I was like, I need to make money now. And so we fired up the fucking Facebook and Straight Legless Clothing, and shit.
And you did that with the help of Jared Taylor, right?
Well, I sort of like what I learned from them. Like I did it all myself.
Yeah, well, but from a business standpoint of like, hey, you guys are selling T-shirts, I can sell apparel and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so actually, sorry, and that's actually like really mean to me to say, but I just forgot. So back then,
no worries.
They got on the fucking phone with me, and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna do my own thing. because I was repping Article 15 a lot and stuff back then. I was like, hey guys, look, I need to make some money because I'm not like, I don't have any money. Like I like my peanut butter, man. I can't afford peanut butter. And they were like, well, let's do it under Article 15, And so it was all sold initially on Article 15 there. And then while down the road,
was it time for Derek to be on his own at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like me personally, because I've never heard the story from the guys or anybody else, nor have they ever mentioned it. But I think at every point in somebody's life, you got to be like, all right, cool, I can do things on my own. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But no, it's and so it's cool, man. And then, but like, I went and moved down there because it was like, they were fun to hang out with. They're fun to just like do little projects with. But so here's the thing, like, so I moved to El Paso with those guys, and they have their lifestyle, which is fucking great. They know who they are, and they are who they are, and they're doing right by themselves and their families, and they're, but I'm just, whereas you guys were firing up the Drinkin Bros podcast and you're staying up late and they're drinking at night and stuff. Well, like, my little bitch ass is up at 4:30 in the morning working out, you know?
Sure.
And so, like, whereas like we're fucking great friends living next to each other, it's like, okay, shit, I'm a little different just because I'm a little different,
Yeah.
And
there's look, there's nothing wrong with that shit. They love you just as much as they always have. So
yeah,
I've never heard a bad word out of anybody's mouth at all about it. So
yeah, and I was just hanging out with them a fucking week. Then what got me out of El? So I'm living down in El Paso, and I meet a girl, and then she was stationed at Bliss, and she takes a job in Vegas, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll come out there, So I paid for my house in El Paso for 6 months, but I was living here in Vegas, and that's why I left El Paso. It was just I fell in love, and so people, a pretty common thing people ask me is like, what happened to you? What happened to you and like the Article 15 guys? Like, what? Like, there must have been a falling out. We don't see you with them anymore. I was like, oh no, we're great friends. Like, I just fell in love and moved, and they're doing their, they're doing their thing in their town, and I'm doing my thing in my town.
Sure. So, it's funny. I actually never hear that. And I never hear that from those dudes. Like, I guess I always picture you guys individually. Like, to me, I always hear, like, again, man, the first time I did like CrossFit or anything, like, you were famous here with like people that are not in the military or anything else. And I mean, dude, the guy in the treadmill today was military, but the guy in like the CrossFit gym wasn't. And he was. I remember when I went in to join, he was like, "What makes you want to join?" I was like, actually, I saw a buddy of mine do it online, and he goes, "Oh, who is it? The guy with the missing leg? Was it Derek Weida?" And I was like, yeah, it actually is. And he goes, oh, fuck, dude. And he starts flipping out because he was a huge fan. And I was like, oh, shit, really? Like, all right, cool. But then after that, like, I always hear you guys individually, but never, I don't know, kind of as a group. Obviously, we do Drinkin Bros all together. But I think you've each done a great job at developing your own personality individually online. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah, so I never hear that, actually, which is a nice thing, because everybody looks at you as the most inspirational dude on the planet, and which is why everybody wanted to hear this one-on-one interview. So yeah, look, it's an amazing thing what you've done.
It's a story of strife. It's kind of a weird story, isn't it? It's like shit.
Yeah, but everybody's story is weird, isn't it? Like, you talk to you talk to people, and you're like, what the fuck? I mean, obviously yours is more different than everybody else, but yeah, it's look, every single person's life is fascinating. It's whether or not you get a chance to talk to them about it is the difference.
I'm a true believer in that, man. And like that was one of my great mistakes back in the day. I was just thinking, I was thinking wrong about a lot of things, but like when you're sad or suffering or something, you think you're the only one. And you're not,
Yeah, that's true. It's totally true.
Everybody goes through, like, maybe my story sounds like, whoa, that's kind of a lot. Not really, like, because like adversity isn't a competition. There's no fucking first place for who fucking struggles more or something like that. If it's shitty, it's shitty. It's kind of, yeah. So like I like that about people. Like everybody, and people write me and they'll be like, "Hey, dude, I shouldn't be complaining to you because you've gone through all that, but I'm going through this and I feel like an idiot." Like, don't feel like an idiot, man.
Yeah.
Like I still fucking cry when I stub my toe. I'm not as cool as people on the internet think I am.
So let's get down to some basics here. Are you married? Because it appears as if you're married online.
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Yeah, I'm married. My wife's name's Stacy. Yep.
Congratulations. I know your wife, but I saw the ring and I saw what appeared to be a ceremony. It looked like in the desert. Were you in the desert?
Yeah, dude, we went to dude, it's so cool. So my unit was the 325. So we got married on March 25th.
Oh, that's fucking dope. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were like, we're both kind of nonchalant about it. Actually, this is both of our second marriage, and so we're kind of like pretty nonchalant about it, and we're like, when should we get married? Because we were about to go to Europe, and we says, well, we could do it there, or we could do it, like, we were figuring out what we want to do, and I pitched it to her. I was like, what if we got married on 325? I thought she'd never go for it. She went for it. Best day of my life.
That's great. That's great. What was the name of it where you got married?
Dry Lake Bed, something or other. I can't remember the name. Dry Lake Bed.
They were the coolest photos I've seen
Mm-hmm.
for a wedding, and it was so interesting that I was like, man, next time I talk to him, I want to ask him where he got married because it looked amazing.
Yeah. So it's cool. Like, so my wife's great. She's good at all the things I suck at. So she gets online and she's looking for. We found this business called Pop-Up Wedding, and it was started by this girl. She lived in New York. She's a florist. Dude, listen to this for like a business story.
Yeah.
This girl is a florist. That's got to be a shitty gig, because people only need flowers a couple times a year or something like that.
Right. Secretary's Day and Valentine's
She's fucking
Day.
smart. She's hanging outside the courthouse where people are getting married, selling flowers. Like,
Oh wow.
oh, you just got married in the courthouse. Here, congratulations. Have some flowers. And then she so she moves to Vegas, and to fuel her fucking floral business, she does these pop-up weddings. It's like, hey, I'll marry you, but you should probably buy these flowers, So it's a pretty cool little, and they just marry you wherever the fuck you want to go, and so you go off in the middle of nowhere. And
family, friends, anybody with you? Just the two of you?
Just the two of us.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I had a small wedding as well, just like immediate family, and that was about it. I liked it better that way.
So like our wedding day was a Saturday. We slept in, we woke up, we went to Whole Foods, got some groceries, came back, took a nap, woke up, got dressed, went and got married.
Yeah, you were Bob Evans. You were playing. You were the old Cracker Barrel. You were playing with a golf tee game, and everything
simple.
was pretty easy. So let me ask you about this: the face tattoo. Was that your idea? Her idea? What made you want to do that?
It was I was getting my hand tattooed, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get like a little heart on my face, like just a tiny little heart. And then a month went by, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get like something a little bit bigger. And then I watched this show called fucking The Last Kingdom, and this Viking dude, a big old what's it called?
Last Kingdom.
Last
Kingdom.
The Last Kingdom. It's a great show, dude.
Okay.
It's a good show. Yep. And
he had a wolf tattoo.
I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll get that. And so I was like, I'll get a face tattoo. And I don't work for anyone. I don't answer to anybody. I didn't know it was such a big deal until I was like, I'm gonna get a face tattoo. And then I got my face tattoo, and people are like, oh my god, you got a face tattoo? It's so funny because it's like you get people with a always like, I don't want anybody to judge me for my tattoos, And then you get a face tattoo, and that person's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah, it's a big deal. I talked about this on my other show, Ross Patterson Revolution. I was like, if you get a face tattoo in this life, you were saying fuck it forever. Of like, dude, I'm doing what I do, and I'm never ever going back, because it's tough at that point. Like, you know exactly what you're doing in this world to get that.
Yeah. And then the night before that I got the tattoo, Stacy was like, do you really want to do this? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm the dude who cut his own leg off. I fucking don't know. Yeah, we're going to go through with it. Fuck it. We'll see what happens.
Does she dig it? Does she dig the face tattoo?
Yeah. And it's already at the point where we don't even see it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
like, I met Mike Tyson about 6 months ago, and
that's cool.
It was the same thing when I met him. Like, I didn't even think to look at the fucking face tats. It was just a part of him, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. And then somebody asked me later, we were like, oh, he had a fucking face tattoo, didn't you? You know, I was like, no, it's weird. Like when you know somebody or see somebody online or whatever, you get used to it. So like with you, I just saw you, yesterday's post. I still like it's already in you, so I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But did the tattoo artist himself? Did they say, hey man, are you really sure you want to do this?
It was a girl. She's a friend of mine. Her name's Marissa. So we're sponsored by the same company, and she moved here to Vegas. So now I got a cool tattoo hookup, and she's like, so apparently it's a thing in the tattoo world too. Like they won't tattoo people's faces. It used to be like
That's
a
what
rite
I
of
heard.
passage,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Limited to
Yep.
only tattoo artists or something. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about your stupid rules, you know? Like,
Right.
here's my money, tattoo my face. No, but it was interesting to learn that. I didn't know.
I
didn't know it was
did.
such a big deal.
Yeah, I did.
So,
Because I heard it's really like forbidden. Of like, hey, dude, you really shouldn't do that. So she was down with it, and at the end of it, did you call her and you were like, hey, I love it, thank you very much. You don't,
Yeah, and yeah, it was cool. And she she tattooed my hand too, and she says she usually doesn't tattoo people's hands or faces unless she can really tell they're not going anywhere in life, you know? I was like, cool, sign me up.
So what are you doing today? Like, what would you say your main focus is?
So my main focus now is just sort of personal. I think last year I was trying to do the damn thing and do like the business and do like the be like I was living my life last year as if I wanted to be a social media personality, you know?
Right.
And so this year has all been about like just taking my life back and living a simple, quiet life here with Stacy. And I clean the house and I cook our food. And I think my full-time job is just competitive athlete for now, for a while, because that's what I want to fucking do, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
I want to win some shit. I want to compete and I want to win. I want to train hard. And it's a tough road, man, because like, I compete in CrossFit and I see the guys at the games and stuff, and they're not tougher than me. They don't work harder than me. They don't want it more than me. They just got more legs than me, you know? So it's kind of a futile endeavor because there's no trophy for, like what I did the CrossFit Open this year, and out of like 200,000 people, able-bodied people doing RX, I took like 60,000th place. And that's fucking huge, man. Nobody else, none of my peers came close to me, but there's no trophy for 60,000th place. And there shouldn't be. But it's like, why do I fucking care so much if like it just, so like what, I fucking pour my life into it for a year and then it like the 5 weeks is up. And then when it's over, it's like, okay, we'll just go home now.
Yeah. It's got to be strange, right? Where you train all that time and then it's like, all right, great. Take care, Derek. We'll see you when we see you.
But yeah, I mean, so it's true, but but it's honestly helped me grow. And like people talk shit and they're all about like, the only thing that matters is like in what you do, like the only thing that matters is like how you feel about it. Like you don't need, like the recognition, the fame, the money, the prize, anything like that. Like if you do something for you, it's kind of pure, so it sort of helps me grow in a weird way. Do I prefer it? No. Will I take it? Yeah.
and you have and like sponsors and all kinds of stuff in your clothing line and everything's rad financially and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean everything. So I got one. I only work with one person or like one company now, and I work with First Form. So I'm a First Form sponsored athlete. And then got the straight legless clothing, but honestly, man, I'm kind of burnt out on making T-shirts, And so actually, this last month I did something cool. I made my money, like I paid rent with paintings. I did 3 paintings, and I sold
which were incredible, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
your paintings are amazing.
That's cool, man. I appreciate that, man, because like that was cool for me, like because I've been part of my healing is like I'm different people. Like we're all different people, but I've been stuck on this. Like I say I have 2 brain modes, like kill or chill. And like my competitive athlete mode, it's my kill brain, but I like my chill brain because it reads and writes and plays the guitar and paints and does like artsy shit, And part of me thinks I need to define myself by being like that masculine dude, but part of me just wants to do artsy things, and Stacy prefers the artsy me, so it's kind of nice, you know.
Yeah.
So to do those paintings and stuff, something new is it was fun, man. I'll probably like continue doing that for a while. So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And lastly, last question for you: is there any dark days still? Like, do you still have any like super dark days where you feel suicidal and you've pulled yourself out of it?
yeah, I mean, so like I was in the hospital December 27th last year, you know, and then I've been seeing actually I had my I'm tired of talking, man. I was at my psychologist today, so I do biweekly checkups um to stay on top, and I scored pretty low on the depression test today, whatever, but uh yeah, man, absolutely, that's part of who I am, you know.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is, like, I've lived with it for a long time now, like depression and thoughts of suicide, where um I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay with it. Like I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm fucking really depressed today. Okay, I know what I need to do. Oh shit, here I am. Like I just laid down to bed, but my heart's racing. I'm sweating, and all I'm doing is fantasizing about every little fucking detail about how I'm going to kill myself and try to mitigate the pain that my wife and mom feel. You know, and I just it used to drive me insane because I thought I needed to fix that. You know, like um and you hate yourself for feeling that way or something, but like I feel like I'm okay with it now today. It's just like I just accepted it. It's like it's who I am, and so it's chill, and so you just ride out that storm. So like I've had enough experience now where I can ride out the storm, and now, you know, you ask me like what I do. I spend a lot of my time talking to people behind the scenes about this, because like maybe it's their first storm, or they're, you know, like they're in their early days of dealing with that shit. And I was like, look, I'm fucking like your date, like okay, you like it's sort of like a heat stroke, you know, like suicide's sort of like a heat stroke. Like once you have it, you're more susceptible to it in the future, because those thoughts sort of become like a comfort blanket. Like it's a comfort blanket for me. Like if something stupid goes wrong in my life, like something stupid and small, something goes wrong, my automatic response is to fucking like, oh, okay, I'll just kill myself, you know? And it's like, fuck. So just accepting it and knowing that that's like lies that my brain tells me helps me live with it. You know, I can recognize that shit. Like when I have that voice in my head saying I'm fucking worthless, my life's hopeless, I'd be better off dead, and things like that. I know those are lies, and so I can ride it out. And so when they come, and they do come, I just chill. And I go see my psychologist every 2 weeks just for those checkups and be like, stay on top of my shit and make sure I don't end up in the hospital again. Because that's what I fucked up last year. I didn't see a psychologist all year last year, and I was struggling by myself. And then it just came to a head, and I couldn't control it, and I had a gun to my head. So I see a psychologist now.
Yeah, that recently.
Mm-hmm.
And
so like it's never over, man, and it's gonna be me for the rest of my life. It's not a curable thing. It's just something that you fucking learn to live with. For some people, you know. So
yeah, the reason I ask is I hear a lot about like, dude, Derek saved my life, or I got to talk to Derek or whatever. So, you know, I guess I had guessed at it, but I didn't know. You know, a lot of people don't talk about it enough, and
Right.
you know, everybody sees like, oh man, Derek's famous and he's got a gajillion social media followers. His life must be amazing, and the fact is, it's probably always not amazing. You know, and it's
That's
helpful.
one of the
It's helpful for people outside to be able to hear that, I think.
Yeah, and that's like, and sort of, so like I fired up my social media to sling t-shirts and make some money, you know, and it sort of morphed into this community over time where it wasn't like it's almost not about fitness. It's more about fucking like just mental health, sort of, in a pretty cool way, because like I share openly my shit so that you know, like, one, it makes me feel better, because like when you have thoughts in your head and you get them out and you tell it to the world, it's like you're confessing and you just feel relieved, you know. But two, yeah, people see me work out and they're like, oh shit, that dude's A-type predator. Fucking, I'm not like him. He just goes hard all day every day. And then they read something that I write, they're like, oh shit, this dude struggles like me, but he still does some pretty cool shit. I'm gonna try that too, you know. So
yeah.
That's what makes me feel good about, like, that's what brings like new meaning and purpose to my life, is like those kinds of stories. And I swear, man, I wish I could just get off the internet, because I'm a solitary creature, and I never expected it to get as big as it is. Like, obviously I'm not like the biggest dude out there, but it's, for a dude that just wants a quiet life, it's pretty big. But
oh yeah,
I have a responsibility, you know, like in it, and I like it, and I like making people smile, laugh, and I like being there for people when they're in trouble, and I don't know, it makes me feel good about my life.
Yeah, I would personally recommend you not ending any of the social medias for that exact reason right there. I mean, look, you're always going to hear negative and, you know, positive and every weird in between of people sucking your dick or hating you or whatever it is. But there's always these people that are genuinely looking for somebody like you, or looking up to somebody like you. And it's nice that you're there for some guidance and to help, you know, talk to them out of the same troubled times that you've been through in your life, and it makes them feel on the same plane. So it's a good thing, I would say.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I went to school I was thinking about being a psychologist, and I learned, like, I was like, oof, I got way too much of my own shit to be able to help other people with their shit. Like, sit down and listen and talk to people about their shit. I just got too much of my own. But now it's what I do anyways. You know? It's kind of weird how things come back full circle, you know.
Yeah, man, it's totally it's totally fucked, but somehow it always happens. It always comes back around full circle. Or you're just like the weird guy who just who just dies, and then it's just like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Let me ask you this: is there a Drinkin Bro of the week you would like to dedicate this show to?
Well, I'm still, dude. I got a favorite dude. I got to look up his. I did him on the Drinkin Bros podcast, but I'm gonna do it again because what's the dude's name with the sunglasses? That's always like, stay motivated, stay epic, stay.
Dan Bilzerian. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm totally kidding.
I don't remember that guy's name.
What about the guy who? Because this is, by the way, this is Drinkin Bros.
The DNR. Did you see that DNR picture somebody photoshopped today?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna I want to dedicate this show to that guy then.
Really?
Hold on, I'm gonna look up his name.
Not the guy who got you through your first mutter or anything like that. Like, that's the guy you want. Like, the guy who put that DNR up today.
Oh, he doesn't have to be a Drinkin Bro? I don't think Sean's in Drinkin Bros.
No, doesn't matter. It can be anyone. It can always be anyone.
All right.
Yeah.
Then my buddy Sean Hensley, because, like, if we're talking about my story, there's one person over the years who's fucking always been there for me and really saved my life and changed my life. It's my friend Sean Hensley.
Awesome. Is it like that's a great one. You know, when you start shouting out like who your favorite person on Pornhub was today.
Right. Well,
that's when things get dark, where you're like, oh shit.
On the, like you said, Drinkin Bro of the week. I was like, oh shit, I gotta look at Drinkin Bros. Okay, here we go. I gotta pick one. All right.
Mia Khalifa. Fuck, man. Huge fan of what you did today. That was a sweet, reverse 69. Was not expecting to see that. Well, dude,
I don't even watch those A-list porn stars anymore, you know? Like, it's sort of lost its allure with me. I'm into some pretty weird shit lately, but we don't have to talk about that.
Look, actually we can. Dude, you know that Russell Crowe, the reason why he broke up with Katy Perry, was because of wheelchair porn. Yeah. She couldn't fucking hack it anymore, I guess. Like,
Jesus, I didn't even know. Like, Russell Crowe was married to Katy Perry.
I'm sorry. Russell Brand. Did I say Russell
Brand?
Russell
that
Brand.
makes more sense.
Wow,
you know
does
what?
it? Like, I think Russell Crowe actually makes more sense. But Russell Brand was married to Katy Perry.
We, like, go from porn, and the first thing you say is like Russell Crowe, and I don't know why that. Like, putting those two together made me laugh, because I just imagine the dude in his fucking jeans and his nice little coat and corduroy jacket.
It would be weird. I don't know. I've seen Russell Crowe really fucked up before, so that wouldn't be weird to me. But Russell Brand. So rumor was that like fucking Katy Perry just wasn't enough, so he was getting her in a bunch of weird shit. where it was just like, hey, try this with me, try this with me, try this with me. And there's only so many like times you can push it with a girl before she's like, yo, line drawn, like this is it, we're over. And that one for her, I guess, was wheelchair porn. And I don't know if people like, because you put your dick and balls on the ground and then somebody rolls back and forth over it, like as you're about to come, like things like that, where it's just like, oh no. So yeah, like when people get on and shout out like a Drinkin Bro, like, oh man, that guy in the wheelchair porn was dope as fuck today. What up, Brad? You're fucking dope.
That's funny.
That would be a weird one. And where can people find you online? You're at
it's just my name
at Derek Weida on Instagram, and your email.
No, I don't do email anymore.
I'm kidding. I want your email and your phone number.
Yeah.
And, no, I'm kidding.
No, I'm Derek Weida on Instagram, Derek Weida on Facebook, and I'm DerekWeida.com on the internet. So I've made it pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, your paintings. Last but not least, your paintings.
They're like so. We did there were 3 paintings. We made 50 of each. We sold them in an hour, so they're gone.
Holy shit! So you can't buy those anymore.
No, those are done. But we're about to release the T-shirts. So like, dude, this is cool. So we put the fucking paintings on white T-shirts. They look pretty rad and artsy fartsy, but I like it. And so those are about to be released, I think tomorrow or Wednesday. And then I'm working on another painting right now. And whenever it's done, we're gonna make 100 of those prints and put them up. And these are all gonna be like limited edition. Once they're gone type thing, So.
Yeah. So as we were chatting, I just went on your website and typed in my address. Hopefully you'll email me when some more come available, because those were gone real quick.
Yeah, and we screwed it. Like, so in the future, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna schedule a for sale day, or like Friday at 7:00 Eastern time, they'll go up for sale, so people can kind of schedule. I'm not catching people off guard because they went. But I've never sold paintings before. It was kind of like a thing. I told Stacy one time, I was like, man, I'd like to have an art gala one day. And she says, but nobody will come. And I was like, damn.
Wow. Stacy, grab your shit. Why don't you grab your shit, Stacy?
So I didn't know if anybody would buy them, So it was a nice, happy surprise that they went so fast. And
well, there was two. There was one with they were both beautiful paintings. There was one with a boat and one where it appeared like a guy was swimming upwards into the ocean with the moon above.
Yeah, so that one, dude, like, so there's 3. There was the boat one, and then I did like this piano man painting. It's just like a black silhouette of dude painting a piano with like a really funky background, something new I tried. And then so like I did the 2 paintings, the piano man and the swimming one, on a Thursday and Friday. And those were 2 really bad days for me. Like, I was depressed. I could just feel it. But I managed, and I let myself, like, usually I pull myself out, but I let myself stay depressed for that, like, creativity factor,
Yeah.
And I sort of fueled it with sad music and red wine. But so like that swimming picture, it's called Sink or Swim. And that took it like a interesting dark twist. I didn't mean to paint like a me, but it's like a dude missing a leg, and there's a chain around his amputated leg, and you can't tell if he's being pulled under or swimming up, So
yeah, no, it was a fucking awesome painting, and I went and they were all gone immediately, and I was like, motherfucker! I was like, what did Derek only paint 2? Yeah. I was like, shit, dude. But what if at the end of all of this, dude, you end up having like a huge successful art gallery? How fucking rad would that be?
This was, yeah. And so we, I think we're going to, like, Stacy gets out of the Air Force next year, but I think we're going to stay here because there's so much potential for things like that. Like if we stayed here, I was like, hey, I want to have an art gala. If I was in fucking Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I was like, hey, America, come to my art gala. People from like where you live, you're like, nah, I don't really want to go up to Minnesota.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, I could go to Vegas for the weekend.
Oh, yeah. He's all come to Vegas.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you guys are getting the Raiders there. So, look, dude, Vegas is about to explode again, I feel.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. And a hockey team. So.
Yeah, man. Dude, I enjoy Vegas. I've never had a bad time in that city. And I never felt like except for the times you're hard, fucking raging where you're just like, oh, I gotta get out of here. Never felt like that. I was like, all right, sweet. I could stay a few more days here. The restaurants, the people, everybody's cool.
Oh, dude, so many good places to eat. And I love the Food Network. That's the only TV I watch. And all them motherfuckers got their restaurants down in the Strip and stuff. And yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Good food, good drinks.
Everywhere you go, yeah. And it's shit. They're pulling out more and more slots and putting in more and more restaurants. For real. Shit, that guy.
Dude, I've never gambled here. Like me and Stacy will go. We live up north, and there's like a hotel, casino, resort type thing up here, and so we'll go play bingo with all the old motherfuckers. But I don't gamble, dude. I don't have enough money to gamble.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm one of those people where if I'm there, I'll gamble. If not, like I'm not going to go out of my way or like online or find a book. Like, if I'm in Vegas, yeah, I'll throw a couple $100 on something, but I'm not like pushing all in life savings of like, oh fuck, I need this. Like, I would never do that to my family. I know.
You see them dudes like gambling their fucking welfare checks, like, man. So like that's what's funny is like we got in every gas station there's slot machines and stuff. Like picture the people playing the slots at my 7-Eleven.
I feel depressed when people are playing in the airport. I'm just like, bro, there's no way you're trying to get one last spin on that Wheel of Fortune fucking slot machine. And then you hear it like every time I'm in the airport, you hear wheel off, and there's one person freaking out. You're like, what the fuck, dude? I think they do it like once an hour just to keep people like, all right, fuck, I'll throw a last few dollars.
And it's just an employee. It's staged, like, all right, here's put your uniform back on.
Yeah.
Somebody shit in the bathroom.
Yeah. Man, it was a barbecue shit too. I could tell it was all vinegary. It must have been Southern barbecue.
Pulled pork as fuck in there.
Well, dude, I enjoyed having this conversation with you. I wasn't lying. Everybody and their mother on Drinkin Bros wanted to hear a one-on-one with you, and we thought we would do it for episode 199.
Yeah, you know what, man? Like, and this is like the first time we've talked. It's like I haven't met you, and we haven't really talked too much before, but it was just passing the few words back and forth.
Yeah. It's weird because you've been on a couple shows. So we've had you on a couple shows, and like
that's true.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know if you remember, but we got real fucked up, and things got real graphic. And to this day, we did that's when we were doing like 2 buzz to airs occasionally, where it was just like, oh hey. If somebody had a really interesting story, but usually people don't, like they used to come on the show and get super fucked up, and it was like, do you know what? You went off on this story about a girl you fucked in a trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And her parents were there, and like it's still up. I want to say it's like episode like 4 or 7. It's 2 buzz to air with Derek Weida, and it's the great. Oh my god, it's the greatest story of all time.
That's funny.
Yeah, and we did a show before that, and I felt like I know you. All those guys talk about you all the time, so it's like, and I follow you on social media, so I never feel like I'm not, I don't know you or with you for some reason. But when everybody started writing in and they were saying, dude, will you just please do just one show with Derek? I was like, fuck, man, maybe people don't know his life story like they should. So, hey, man, I really appreciate you doing it.
Oh, thanks, man. It was a lot of fun for me too. It was cool talking to you. You're like one of my 2 favorite people on the internet. I don't like the internet much anymore, but you and Jack Mandeville, I fucking love you guys. You're hilarious. You're fucking hilarious.
Do we have crazy Instagram and Facebook accounts where it's just like, I was in the hurricane today, but and if anybody's listening at home, because like there was a couple of points where like you could hear the wind.
35 miles an hour means something to me.
Dude, that 35 meant a lot to me today. Hashtag Irma. Hashtag send relief. That 35 miles an hour really almost scooped me off my feet today.
I feel like somebody missed out. Like they could have gone out in like the super gushy wind and taken a selfie, and it could have been like Ermagerd. I feel like somebody missed that opportunity.
I feel like that T-shirt was a missed opportunity because Irma was Ermagerd. I feel like Irma was one of those things that we've been hearing about for a month. It feels like a month old. Like this hurricane was, barreling towards the earth like a month ago, and I'm like, fuck. by the time it finally got here 18 days later, or whatever the fuck it was like a cat too. Some shit got flooded. Nothing crazy, you know?
Y'all ain't no Houston.
Yeah, it's like Houston's got some real problems.
Yeah.
But they were doing like a marathon tonight, like a music thing to raise money for Houston, and they had to like kind of throw Irma in there just in case. They were like, oh, and the Irma victims too.
If you want to sponsor some local tree removal,
yeah. I will say this: getting a tree removed is no joke. I had one out of my backyard. Motherfucker charged me $1,500. And I had to move all the wood chips myself.
Woo!
It was 3,500 pounds of fucking wood chips. It took me fucking forever. So what I'm trying to say, Derek, is I think I'm the real hero tonight. You don't know adversity until you pay someone to chop down your tree, and then you've got to remove all the wood chips yourself.
That's funny.
Oh, dude. Well, listen, man, you're one of my favorite people. If you haven't seen Derek's stuff, check him out on Instagram and Facebook. Check out his website. And when his paintings become available, grab him. He's a super talented artist. Thank you so much for being on the show, Derek.
No, man, thank you. Had a great time.
All right. I love you, buddy.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Man, that was Derek Weida. What a show. What an inspirational dude, and just a fucking cool, down-to-earth guy. I honestly can't thank you enough for doing the show. Man, for me and Matt and the rest of the boys, what a fucking kick-ass interview that was. Shit. We're the Drinkin Bros. Thank you, Derek Weida, for being on. Good night, everyone.